After an exciting game one of the doubleheader where Lane Tech walked it off in the bottom of the ninth against the York Dukes, we now head to game number 2 of our Saturday matinee doubleheader between the Lane Tech champions and the York Dukes, where we get to see some of the players who are some making their season debut tonight for the Lane Tech champions. And it looks like we're just about ready for first pitch here from Lane Tech, as it's going to be actually the same exact leadoff hitter for the York Dukes, except he moves from the left side of the infield to the right side of the infield, as it will be Filosa leading off the top of the first inning. First pitch fouled back for a strike, and we will move to an 0-1 count. Brian Filosa had an up and down day at the plate and in the field. A couple of hard balls hit towards him in the varsity game number 1. He originally was not supposed to start. It was supposed to be Nico Ruggieri. However, Ruggieri was not, I'm not sure if he's not here today or just not playing, but he got scratched from the lineup, and instead it was Filosa as the 0-2 misses. It's Jack Davis on the mound. We saw him get the start last Monday against De La Salle. Pitched very well in that one, and we'll see where he gets his innings this season, as the 1-2 fast curveball misses, and we'll even it out at a 2-2 count. It's a very different looking infield tonight for the champions. This one poked into left field will go a little bit foul. It is Giannis Katsagradakis at first base, Bennett Levinson at third, Tyler Trapp at short, and Ryan Dooley at second base. The outfield, Carson Berg in left, Andrew Contreras in center, and Henry Murray in right field. As we mentioned, it is Jack Davis on the mound, and I forgot to write down who's catcher, but we will get that in a second, as the 2-2 misses outside, and after going ahead in the count 0-2, Davis trying to avoid walking the leadoff batter. On deck, it's going to be Marini for this team, as check swing. They say it's a strike anyways, and we'll throw it around in the top of the first inning. So 1 up, 1 down here for Jack Davis. We mentioned he has varsity experience playing in that De La Salle game, so this could be a very good outing for him, as Marini's going to come to the plate. Vinny Marini wearing the number 8 jersey, as first pitch misses low. Seen a lot of changeup action here early on out of Davis. Rolls with a couple different pitches, not as big of an arsenal as we saw out of a couple of game 1 pitchers, as this one hammered towards right field, chasing after it and making the grab on the run there is Murray for out number 2. So quickly 2 up, 2 down for the champions, and now we'll see if they can close it out with the 3-hitter Noah Hughes coming to the plate. Started off game number 1 as the pitcher the junior had a nice 4 innings or so going before they took him out, as this one hit towards center field and caught by Contreras, and that will be a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the first. We'll head to the bottom of the first. It's 0-0 between Lane Tech and York in game 2 of our Saturday doubleheader. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the bottom of the first here at Kerrywood Field, 0-0, your score between the Lane Tech champions and the York Dukes in game number 2 of our doubleheader. Lane Tech walked it off 4-3 in game number 1, and the champions will look to do the same here in the second one, which is not going to start to count towards standings, but will count to just bragging rights between these two schools as York throws down. We have Budak on the mound. Apologies, folks. We got a roster card, and I did not realize that they brought up JV players for this game, so I did not get first names or pronunciations for a couple of these York players in the second game, but he'll be on the mound. Lane Tech is going with all varsity guys for their lineup as Tyler Trapp walks into the batter's box to start off inning number 1 offensively for Lane. First pitch goes high for a ball. And we'll move to a 1-0 count here. Jack Davis in the top half of this inning looked very, very solid pitching-wise. Kind of what we expected. Seen him pitch in a couple games this year. Best performance came against De La Salle, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And now we have another player in Tyler Trapp who has a lot of varsity experience this game. He even took a at-bat in the first game of this doubleheader, coming in as a pinch hitter and then coming in to play in the outfield in inning number 9. Tonight he will be situated at shortstop for this game. He played at the varsity level for second base for the first couple of games, but this will be his first varsity minutes at second for the sophomore as this pitch misses inside, and we'll move to a 2-0 count on Trapp. Top tier North player, had a really strong summer, did a couple of big Division I camps. We'll see where his interest ends up, but definitely college caliber player as this one fouled back, and we'll move to a 2-1. If these teams stay, Lane Tech in their home white uniforms, York in their away green, almost shamrock colored uniforms. Two schools that have green in their color combos, but Lane much darker one as this one hit towards right field and will drop in front of the right fielder Hughes for a single. We were talking about this in the top half of this inning, but Hughes had a pitch in game number 1. He did not hit. This time it's going to be the opposite. He is going to hit, not pitching, and he's playing in the field as a right fielder. So the junior gained some extra action as Andrew Contreras comes to the plate. The lefty batter, we saw him pinch hit once in the first game of this doubleheader, as this one's going to move away from the catcher Jones. Jones, another player who's not on the varsity. Oh, no, excuse me, Noah Jones, number 27. He is last player on the roster for this York team as the 1-0 misses inside as well and move to a 2-0 count. 1 on, no outs in the bottom of the first inning. Lane Tech looking to what would technically be their 5th straight win if you count this one. We'll complete the week in the standings 4-0, 3 wins in conference play, and the game 1 of this just came as a really big confidence boost for the champions. They've struggled in the last couple of weeks against some suburban opponents, and obviously York coming from Elmhurst, one of those suburban opponents, and champions able to not only lead for most of the game but also respond to adversity. I think that's the most impressive thing. They've struggled this season when falling behind in these late game situations, but to rally, get that run in the bottom of the 7th, and then hold York scoreless for 2 innings before we saw the run come home in the 9th was very impressive as this one hit off the foot of Trapp, so he's going to be out. You do not see that a lot, but Contreras will reach based off, I don't know how you mark that. I guess we'll just call it a single. And now there'll be 1 away here in the bottom of the first with a runner on first still for the champions. And coming to the plate, Henry Murray. He'll test out going as a righty here, facing off against the lefty pitcher for the Dukes as first pitch gets away quickly from Jones, but they will keep Contreras at first base. Contreras is one of the speedier players on this roster for the champions. We saw him even last year and then this year coming as a pinch runner a couple times because of the speed he has. Uses it in the outfield when he's in one of those positions, and we'll see if he can possibly steal a bag here as we'll move to a 2-0 count on Murray. Murray playing tonight out in right field for the champions in this second game of the doubleheader. As they'll wind up the 3-0, this one curves low. Excuse me, the 2-0, this one curves low. And some early control issues. It looks like out of Budak on the mound. Bennett Levinson standing on deck. Another one of the young underclassmen on this champion squad. Lane has a lot more sophomores and even might be more juniors than usual. It's a very interesting mix this year, and you especially see it in the second game of doubleheaders. But I think it's going to end up helping as this one ripped to third base. Goes very high, but getting under it for the grab is the third baseman, Reedy. And that will be a quick out number 2. Off the bat, that one looked like it was going to travel a lot further. But ends up just going sky high and dropping in the third baseman's glove for a second out. And Lane Tech hoping they do not waste a leadoff single here in the first inning, as runner's going to take towards second. First pitch down in the dirt for a ball, and Andrew Contreras will safely take to second base. So Lane Tech has the first runner in scoring position. At the plate, as we said, Bennett Levinson for the champions, wearing that number 32 jersey. As this one's to center field, chasing after it, gets over the head of Marini here. One run will score. Levinson takes off his helmet, it looks like there. Must have been coming off his head, and this is going to be a triple for Bennett Levinson. Quite the hit there for the sophomore. And now he'll run over to get his helmet. That one was just rocketed towards center field. Marini tried to drift a little bit to his right, but at the end he just turned around. He knew he was not getting to that one. And Lane Tech will take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning. And they still have room to go, 2 away, with Carson Berg coming to the plate. Another guy who has some varsity experience with this Lane Tech squad. His first pitch misses outside, and will go to a 1-0 count. Berg has been a player who has seen him go in and out of the starting lineup for even like game ones of doubleheaders this season. It's this season and last season. Last season had some really hot hitting at times, and when he was hitting hot, you would almost see him in every single day in the outfield, as the 1-1 misses down low. This season, a couple of starts for him. Tonight he'll be starting in game 2 in the left field spot. Very good defender for the champions as well. But also a big bat. He'd love to repeat what Levinson did a couple seconds ago, and it looks like he might. This one is skied towards center field. Marini drifts over. This time, though, he cannot make the grab. Sprinting in the second is Berg, and the champions take a 2-0 lead here in the first. So Marini, a little bit of trouble there out in center field early on, as Giannis Katsaradakis is going to come to the plate. So we have a triple from Levinson and a double from Carson Berg, both out to center field the last 2 at-bats. Andrew Contreras already came in to score earlier this inning. And Lane will look to grow this lead, possibly even past 2 here in the bottom of the first. First pitch taken in for a strike, it looked like there by the umpire. Small crowd on hand for this Saturday afternoon matchup. 1:21 local time. We had about a 1:10 first pitch as a home run swing and a miss from Katsaradakis as he falls behind in the count 0-2. We had some earlier action going on at both Lane Stadium and DePaul's new stadium, but looks like all the lacrosse for the day is over. As this one slopes outside for a ball for there at second. Berg was wanting to go to third, took a very big lead there, but we'll back off near the end, and we will stay at a 1-2. This one called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. And York gets out of it, but not before 2 runs come across the plate. It's the Champions 2, the York Dukes 0 as we head to inning number 2. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the second inning here at Kerrywood Field. Lane Tech with an early 2-0 lead over the York Dukes here in Game 2 of our doubleheader between the two schools. It'll be Zach Sharp taking the mound. Lane Tech trying to get as many guys pitching experience as possible here in today's doubleheader. And Zach Sharp will relieve Jack Davis after a nice first inning from the junior. Sharp, another righty, this time a senior. On his second year on varsity, battled a couple of injuries this offseason, but good to go for tonight's game. And we'll see what he can throw here tonight in his first appearance of the 2023 season. Sharp pitched in the summer series. We talked about that in game 1 of our doubleheader, where Lane Tech took home the summer state title through a complete game in the semifinal against Hinsdale Central. It was looking really good with his strikes. And we'll see if he can find that strike zone again here tonight, facing off against the 4, 5, and 6 part of this York Dukes lineup. Leading things off here is going to be number 21, Paul Reedy, who we saw playing at third base there in the bottom of the first inning. As we'll see Elias Padillo, who we found out was the catcher, throw down, and we're good to go here in inning number 2. Lane looking to keep this early lead they have built up. I think with Sharp coming in, we might be down to only 1 or 2 players we've not seen play this year, as first pitch curveball works its way outside for a ball, and we'll go to a 1-0 count. First doubleheader of the year for Lane Tech. A couple of them scheduled against Warren and Nazareth. One Nazareth game did not happen. The Warren game got moved from a Saturday to a Friday to try to avoid inclement weather, but a successful doubleheader for the first time this 2023 campaign tonight, as curveball, it's some nice movement there, but a little too far out to the left-hand side. And we'll go to a 2-1 count on Paul Reedy. Pitch, another curve, this one hammered towards left field. Berg chases after it, and that's going to drop. At least a double here for Reedy. He turns first. Berg struggles to pick that up there in left field, but safely into second base is Paul Reedy, and the third baseman is in scoring position here early on. First base runner of the day for the Dukes, and we'll see if the extra hitter, not really any specific rules for these doubleheaders. We have York hitting 10 guys tonight. I think Lane's only doing 9. but 10 guys in the lineup, and the extra hitter here is number 16, Ryan Procilo. Procaglo for Procilo. Wearing the 16 jersey tonight, lead at second base there by Reedy. As this pitch misses outside. So now that we have the complete lineup, we'll take you around the infield again for the champions. That's Elias Padilla catching for the champions tonight. He's catching for Zach Sharp on the mound currently as this one hit towards center field. Contreras makes a nice running grab, though, for out number 1. Giannis Katsaradakis holding things down at first base. Ryan Dooley at second. Tyler Trapp at short. And Bennett Levinson at third. Carson Bergs in left to start off tonight. Andrew Contreras in second. And Henry Murray playing out there in right field. As we see the 6-hitter, the catcher, Noah Jones, come to the plate. Saw him make a couple nice stops there in the first inning as he watched 2 runs come across the plate for the champions, who have the early lead here in this doubleheader matchup. Sharp looks back to the runner at second. That's Reedy. Curveball hit high to the right-hand side, but will travel away. Zach will have a couple of rest days before they resume play in Florida. Checking right now, I believe 4 or 5 games scheduled for that one, and they're playing against some pretty good competition. Archbishop McCarthy, one of the top teams in Florida, and I believe in the nation they've been ranked too. It's 4 games in Florida starting on Monday, as this one fouled back again, and we'll move to a 1-2 count. Face off against Wellington on Monday. That's a 7:30 p.m. first pitch. Archbishop McCarthy in Fort Lauderdale on Tuesday. Sagemont in Weston on Wednesday. And then Cardinal Gibbons wraps up the trip on Thursday. That game is also in Fort Lauderdale as the 1-2 bounces in front of the plate, and we'll even it out at a 2-2 count. Reedy still patiently waiting there at second base. I like to say that at the end of that spring break, that's kind of the halfway point of the season. Number of games, maybe not, but once you return from that spring break trick, that's when the grind kind of returns. As a pickoff attempt, almost good. I think Sharp may have accidentally hit Reedy in the shoulder there with that throw, though. Because when Lane Zach returns, it's basically at least 3 conference games, Monday through Friday, and add in a couple of non-conference games midweek and Saturday. And Lane just will be competing for high city seeding at that point. They're off to a good start, 3-0 in conference play, as this one hit high. Giannis Katsaradakis gets under it in foul territory and will make the grab for out number 2. Katsaradakis, the University of Chicago football commit, playing in his 2nd game this season. Sun just came out and lit the entire field here at Kerrywood Field. Not sure if you guys could see that on your screen, but just got a lot brighter here. And we actually see for the first time today some blue clouds, some blue sky without any clouds in front of it. That's a nice sight to see after we've had rain in Chicago for most of the last 18 to 24 hours. As first pitch called for a strike here, 2 away. York trying to not strand a runner in scoring position, something that really plagued them in the first game of the doubleheader. If you go back to that one, if they had been able to convert 1 or 2 of those earlier runners, they would not have probably won it in regulation. There was a couple times they stranded 1, 2 runners in scoring position for a couple straight innings. That just came back to hurt them. So we'll move to 1-1 on the 7-hitter. Another player who I believe we do not as a call-up from JV. As this one, check swing, no good. Wearing the number 2 jersey, it looks like, but that's not Jack Rosmus, because it's a different number on our scorecard. So it's going to be, I think we wrote down Longerrin is his name. We don't have a first name. Apologies for that, folks. But he gets ready for the pitch. This one swung on and missed for a strike two. Nice breaking on that pitch from Zach Sharp. And he'll move one strike away from closing out this first inning with no first inning for him with no damage done. We'll see how many pitchers Lane Tech goes through in tonight's contest. Sharp stares in for the call from Padilla. This one a little bit too far inside, and we'll even it out at a 2-2 count. On deck, it'll be Fleming for the Dukes here, as this one fouled off to the left-hand side, and we'll keep that at 2-2. We saw Fleming in Game 1 play at second base. Here tonight, he'll be playing in shortstop. So they actually just flipped the middle infield for this Game 2 of the doubleheader. It was Filosa at short and Fleming at second in Game 1. Now it'll be Fleming at short and Filosa at second for tonight's Game 2 of our doubleheader. 2-0, Lane Tech with the early lead top the second. Sharp trying to get out of this inning after giving up a double to Reedy to start it off. This one hit over the head of Sharp, charging in his trap, throws it quickly to Katsugradakis, who gets the 6-3 put out to end the inning. York will strand the runner in scoring position as we head to the bottom of the second. It's the Champions 2, the Dukes 0. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the bottom of the second here. Lane Tech looking to expand on a 2-0 lead. 2 runs in the first inning by Andrew Contreras, who came around after a single, and Bennett Levinson, who came around after rocketing a triple out to the outfield in the first inning. He came around to score as well, and that's where things will stand after 2 scoreless innings from Jack Davis and Zach Sharp on the mound, as first pitch will be taken for a strike here in the bottom of the second. Windy day in Chicago, wind gusting in right now. It's gone to a variety of directions, but none of which I would say have helped the hitters here today. Definitely no blowing out today in Chicago. It was a windy game last night as well. So we'll move to an 0-2 count on Elias Padilla, as he'll poke this one away and stay alive in the at-bat. Padilla catching tonight for the Champions. And waiting on deck will be Ryan Dooley, Emiliano Perez-Zeeb, who is playing in the DH role tonight in the hole, as this one misses low. And Padilla will get his first ball of the season. One of numerous players making their season debuts in this game for the champions. Padilla is next up. Dooley in the lineup. He is. I believe this might be the debut for Levinson. I can't remember if he pitched in one of the games I was not at or not, but at least those two and possibly Levinson all seen some time. Seeing some time in the field for the first time this year, as we'll do the 1-2 again, and this one misses outside. So after an early 0-2 count, Padilla trying to get this one all the way back to a full count. Pitch misses outside, and that's exactly what will happen. Lane Tech would love to be able to break this one open a little bit early on. As we mentioned, they currently sit at a 2-0 lead. Apologies, we forgot to add the runs for Lane in our score bug, as this one hit towards third. Should be playable. Throw across the diamond is not in time. Oh no, it was the first baseman who fumbled the ball. It was a nice throw from Reedy to Longren. However, he just could not hold it at first, and Padilla gets down the first base line in time, and Lane Tech has the leadoff man reach with a single for the second time here today as Ryan Dooley comes to the plate. After Dooley, it's Emiliano Perez-Zeeb, another guy who's had some decent varsity time this year. So there's a couple of guys who coming up who might be able to get Lane Tech further on this scoreboard. No outs in the bottom of the second. Dooley listed as both a catcher and a utility player. It's Padilla playing in the catcher spot tonight, so they moved him to second, and he will get a hit. Bloops this one into right field. Hat flies off of the right fielder, Hughes, and Lane Tech has back-to-back singles to start off this inning number 2 of action. The offense looking good here early on for the champions, as Emiliano Perez-Zeeb will come to the plate. And on deck, top of the lineup, Tyler Trapp. So Lane Tech is going to go with just the 9 hitters for tonight. No extra hitter. I think they've done that once or twice in the past, but tonight they'll just choose to go with 9. Sun's still shining on the field here at Kerrywood Field. Lefty Zeeb at the plate. Pitch. Hits the outside part of the zone. So we've seen up and down pitching here early on out of Budak on the mound. As we mentioned, he's not on their usual varsity lineup. The lefty comes up for today's doubleheader game as this one slowly dotted down the first base line and will head foul, scooped up by the manager, Dave Kylal, for the York Dukes. Longtime head coach of this York program. Last year had a miracle run. We started talking about this in the game 1. I don't think we got into how crazy it was. We mentioned they were a 10 seed and made it all the way to the super sectional. But I think the weirdest part to me was last year for York, the seeds they had to beat. In the first round, they beat a 13 seed. Or excuse me, a 7 seed. But then the 7 seed was the highest seed they played against until the super sectional. It was just a sectional that was full of upsets, as Zeeb will be sent down on strikes here for 1 away, and Lane Tech will return to the top of the lineup. Singled the first time up, but got caught trying to go to second, as a mound visit's going to be had here. And I'm not sure if we're going for a pitching change or not, as the manager is going to come to the mound. And looks like we are going to see a pitching change. So we'll take a quick break here at Kerrywood Field and be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Tech here, bottom of the second inning. Lane Tech with a 2-0 lead. Pitching change for York. They send another one of their JV guys in to pitch. Apologies, folks. Once again, we did not get that roster, and they did not have a printed lineup card for this second game. So we'll just go with number 29 on the mound now for the York Dukes, as he gives an early ball to Tyler Trapp, top the lineup for the Champions. This is a tough place for a pitcher to come into, having to face the 1, 2, and 3 guys who are pretty good hitters for the Champions. We have Trapp and Murray, and Contreras is the one of the 2 runs already scored today. It's a big swing and a miss, moves us to a 2-1 count. Just looking, and you can see which players were call-ups or not today because of the jerseys. They're similar jerseys, but for the JV ones, they're slightly more cursive, and they say Dukes on them. As this one ripped down the third base line, this should score at least 2. Goes all the way to the left field fence. They're going to send Trapp around second. Now he'll stay there, but a 2 RBI double for Tyler Trapp. And Lane Tech has opened up a 4-0 lead here in the bottom of the second. He's 2 for 2 on the day with a single and a double halfway to the cycle. And some impressive hitting early on from this Lane Tech offense. That was Padilla, who came from second to score, and Dooley, who came all the way from first around the score. And we'll see if Lane Tech can keep this going. Still just 1 away, as first pitch to Andrew Contreras misses inside for a ball. We mentioned neither of those runs will count towards this pitcher who just came in, but tough situation to come in, as earned runs, I should say. Tough situation to come in with 2 on and the top of the lineup. Up to bat for the Champions in this second game of the doubleheader. Contreras looking for his second run of the season here today. Actually, he might have 1 or 2 that counted as a pinch runner. So he'll move ahead in the count, 3-0. Henry Murray waiting on deck for the Champions. Bennett Levinson, who still has the best hit of the game with a triple. That was almost rivaled there. This one diving stop at first base. However, beating the throw is Contreras. The pitcher was slow to get to the bag there, and we talked about Contreras' speed. And the Champions will keep the rally going here. Runners at first and third, still just 1 away here in inning number 1 of action. Excuse me, inning number 2 of action, as Lane looks to expand on their 4-0 lead. At the plate, it's Murray, who now facing off against a righty. Hits from the righty's batter's box, and this one down the right field line. 1 run will score. They're going to probably send Murray to third. This is going to be the second triple of the day for the Champions. 2 runs come in to score, and the Champions lead 6-0 here in the second inning. So Lane Tech's offense off and running here today. Let's recap this innings, the hits so far. We'll go both innings for the Champions. We had Contreras, who hit a single, then Bennett Levinson, who hit a triple, a double from Carstenberg. That was all in the first. And now here in the second, as first pitch misses outside to Bennett Levinson, we have a single from Padilla, a single from Dooley, a double from Trapp, a single from Contreras, and a triple from Murray, the lone out being a strikeout from Emiliano Perez-Zeeb right before the pitching change. So Lane Tech gained all the run support they could want. They've already scored 2 more than they did in the entirety of the first game of this doubleheader, albeit those were varsity pitchers, but always good to see the offense rolling as the 1-1 misses high. Levinson plays his travel ball with Elite, mainly played third base this summer with travel, as this one's going to hit him in the arm. And Lane Tech will once again have runners in the corners. No bullpen work for the Dukes just yet. As strolling to the plate is Carson Berg, looking to reach for the first time today. He had a nice double his first time up right after Levinson had the triple. Lane Tech's just a home run away from having the team cycle here today. His first pitch misses for a ball, and we'll go to 1-0. A little bit of control pitches control issues early on by this Duke squad. As the 1-0 hit towards third base, should be a double play ball. The throw across is wild to first base. 1 run will score. They did get Levinson advancing to second there, but that will just be a second out, and a run does come home. So Lane Tech now leads 7-0. That was Henry Murray who came to score for the first time today. Lane now with 5 runs in the inning, and still not done yet technically, as we see Giannis Katsaradakis come to the plate, struck out his first time up. Carson Berg waits patiently at first, takes a lead. Gets checked at first by the first baseman, and a big swing to miss on the 0-0. A little bit of curveball there out of the number 29 for York on the mound. Looks like some of the York players may have left the game with their parents after this game 1 of the doubleheader. Still have about 5 or 6 maybe extra guys in the dugout should they need to go to that, as this one lifted towards right field, and that is going to hit the fence. 1 run is going to come in to score, and this is going to be a triple for Giannis Katsaradakis. Looked for a second like that one was going over. He just ripped it. And every time we've come to the plate this season, we've said how much power he has in his bat, and that was displayed right there as the triple from Katsaradakis moves this to an 8-0 ball game, and Lane Tech just piling on the runs early on, as Elias Padilla is going to have to take off his catcher gear. That was Carson Berg, who came from first around to score. And Lane will still have a runner on as they could maybe get to double-digit scoring here in the second inning of action. This is Padilla's second time hitting here today. Hitting this inning. Lane Tech has hit through the lineup in the second. See if they can keep it going, maybe get to 10 batters. This one wild pitch. Katsaradakis is going to run home and slide in easily for the run. From football, Katsaradakis has a little bit of speed, so uses it there and scores yet another run for the champions this inning. That is now 7 for them as they open a 9-0 lead. This one hit foul down the right field line and will go to an 0-1 count. So it's going to be the 3rd triple of the game hit by Lane Tech, as a nice pitch there gets into the strike zone. At bat right now, Elias Padilla, he started off this inning with a single. See what he can do his second time. This one hit softly to short. Should be routine for Fleming. Throws it across the... Oh, he did not get that ball. We turned our attention to the first baseman. He had trouble picking that one up. And just a lot of field errors here by this York team. And we'll keep on going with Ryan Dooley coming to the plate. He singled his first time up and came around to score. We'll be able to say that a lot about a lot of these players after this inning, as this one swung on and missed for a strike. Let's see, we had Trapp scored, I think, other than Emiliano Perez-Zebe, who's now, after Dooley, the only player who has not hit twice today. Every single Lane Tech starter has scored, as this one hit towards center field, and Marini will catch it for the out. But Lane Tech puts 7 across the board in the bottom of the second. They lead 9-0 in game 2 of our doubleheader. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to inning number 3 here at Kerrywood Field. Lane Tech has opened up a 9-0 lead over the York Dukes here in game number 2 of our doubleheader. Lane Tech with a 4-3 extra inning win in game number 1 and rolling to what looks like to be possibly a big victory here in game number 2 as first pitch dealt this season by Rohan Thurivathikul will go for a strike. Rohan is in his first season as a member of this varsity squad as left-hander miss for a ball and will go to a 1-1 count. Did not play with the Lane Tech program last season, but lefty tried out, made it this season, and now he'll make his season debut as this one skied towards left field, chasing after it, but it goes foul there was Berg for another strike here. At bat right now for this Dukes team is going to be the 8-hitter Fleming. Had an error in the field in that last half inning. Will now try to make up for it in the batter's box. We saw Fleming in game 1 hit as well because he was playing at second base as this one slowly goes down the third base line and will just end up going for a strike. So we'll keep it at 2-2 count now. In game number 1, we saw Fleming hit in the 6th spot, and he moves down to the 8th spot. Really only moving down 1 when you consider they added an extra hitter into the lineup for this one. As the 2-2, some nice velocity on that pitch from Thurivathikul, but it goes a little too far out to the right side. And we'll try it again, the 3-2. Hit sharply through the glove there of the third baseman, Bennett Levinson, and a nice single there by Fleming. Levinson just looked down at his glove there after it went through it and thought he had it, but it did not, and that will be a leadoff single to start off this inning number 3. York trying to put on their rally caps and come back from this early 9-0 deficit. Two managers, Sean Freeman and Dave Kalal, standing there on the third base side. I think it's just out of your camera view, but they've been chatting it up all of this second doubleheader. Tensions definitely rose a little bit there in the other games. Some unhappy calls of umpires and whatnot, and all the dugouts were chirping, but things have settled down here a little bit for this second game of the doubleheader as we'll move to a 1-0 count on the 9-hitter. This one moves away. At bat number 18, Jack Lawden, who we saw coming as a pitcher, but will be playing in left field for this second game of the doubleheader. It's always interesting when you see the pitchers who also double as field positions. Lane Tech, for the most part, does not have that other than Josh Katz, who plays in the field and also is a starting pitcher. But Lane Tech has more POs than you see most high school teams have. I guess Jack Davis also has played in the outfield, as this will be a 5-pitch walk. And Lawden will take his bag here in the top of the third. And now we'll see the pitcher hit. Or the original pitcher, Budak, coming in. He does not leave the game as a batter. They'll keep him in for this at bat as first pitch misses for a ball. So it's runners at first and second now. We had to split the bottom row of our scorecard between the 9 and the 10 hitters for the Dukes. Looks a little awkward for a baseball scorecard as this one misses low. A little bit of control issues here for the Champions pitching. They've been going with a lot of different pitchers for this game. I think they might be out after this, though, so I'm wondering who they're going to send to the mound next. They're probably not going to use any of their usual starting pitchers for this game, or even usual relievers, especially with such a big lead. So we'll see what they do for the rest of this one as York tries to get a couple runs back here, trailing 9-0. They have 2 on here in the third. This one goes too far out to the left. Turyivatiko struggling a little bit here on finding the strike zone. Walked the last batter after giving off the leadoff single to Fleming down the third base line. The 3-0 hit high towards center field. Should be playable as Trapp comes all the way in front of... Looks like they may have put Zeeb in instead of Contreras there in center field, but Emiliano Perez Zeeb comes in and makes the grab, and that will be out number one. So Lane gets a little bit of breathing room here in the third, and now we'll see what they can do against the top of the lineup, as it looks like actually they may have added a 11th hitter to the lineup, because it is not Filosa who's at the plate right now. Instead, it's going to be number 23, TJ Silkaitis, on the varsity team, but this will be his first time hitting here tonight. As the 1-0 a little bit low, move to a 2-0 count. 2 on, 2 away, 1 away, top of the third. Lane with a 9-0 lead in game 2 of our doubleheader. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Kerrywood Field, as this one fouled back. And we'll get to one strike in the at-bats. York, after this morning's matchup, will fall to 2-3 on the year. They play next against Downers Grove North, and they play in the West Suburban. I believe they break it up same as basketball, so the West Suburban Silver. And I gotta say, I love the way they do it. They do 3-game series, so it's very similar to how MLB teams do it. It's because it's a smaller conference, but they do 3-game series across the span of a week. So it's going to be Downers Grove North at home on Monday, then Downers Grove North on the road on Tuesday, and then they return home to play Downers Grove North, and I guess a series deciding matchup on Thursday. As the 3-2 misses outside, and that will load the bases here in inning number 3. Looks like Lane Tech does have a little bit of bullpen work here going in the third. As we'll see Vinny Marini come to the plate. So it looks like they may just take Filosa, was pinch hit for. We'll see if he stays in the field. And now it'll be Marini coming to the plate, who flew out to right field his first time up, and will take a ball to start off his second at-bat. Still just 1 away, so York can slowly work their way back into this one if they want. Hit here would do a good ways to that, as swing and a miss here on a slow swing will bring us even at 1-1. On deck, it'll be Noah Hughes, Paul Reedy, who's had the best hit of the day for York so far, is in the hole, as this one hit high towards right field again. A couple guys coming over to get it and ultimately making the grab there. There'll be a throw home not in time from Murray there, and that will be the first run of the game for York. Cut it to an 8-run ball game. And with 2 away, it'll be runners on the corners, with Noah Hughes coming to the plate. We mentioned Noah Hughes was the starting pitcher for the Dukes in game 1. Did pretty well, went 4 innings, I want to say, only gave up 1 run. It was a 1-0 ball game. They ended up taking him out, and eventually Lane Tech was able to get the win. But a quality start out of Hughes, as they'll try a pickoff over there at first base, but cannot get it over there in time. Lefty pitcher versus righty hitter matchup. Seen a couple of those already with Turyivatiko on the mound. Runners take their leads at first and third. Pitch. That one misses low, and we'll go to a 2-1 count. So I think the one thing we've seen differently, just these pitchers tonight for Lane Tech have had a little bit of trouble with finding the strike zone. in game 2 of the doubleheader. Luckily, York has also had some trouble getting contact, so it's been a lot of walks here early on. Single and a pair of walks this inning for the Dukes. It was Fleming who came home to score. Now runners on the corners. 2 away. This one fouled back. Padilla rips off his mask, but too late. That one came straight on top of the press box here. And we'll keep it at we'll move it to a 2-2 count. So Lane 1 out away from getting out of this inning. With only 1 run given up, we'll see if they can do it. The pitch is down low, and we'll do a full count now. Love to avoid another bases loaded situation, though. In game 1, we did see many bases loaded situations. 2, possibly even 3. A couple with only 1 out that resulted in no runs. So both these squads here today have not had the best luck offensively while pitching in bases loaded situations. As we'll try the 3-2 again. But first, the pickoff attempt. Hughes patiently awaiting. Could not find much on him offensively last year. Mainly started as a pitcher for this squad as a sophomore. Pretty impressive picking up a varsity win as a sophomore. Lane Tech has not had someone like that in my time as a broadcaster here, as that will be a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And that will bring us to the close of the top of the third. It's the Champions 9, the York Dukes 1. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the bottom of the third. Lane Tech has scored in all 2 innings they've hit so far. They scored 2 in the first and then piled on 7 runs in inning number 2. We'll see what they can do in the third as Emiliano Perez-Zeeb swings at a first pitch. Strike. Looks like it's the same pitcher, number 29, on the JV team for the York Dukes here in the bottom of the third. There is some bullpen action for York, and looks like some bullpen action for Lane Tech as well, as the 1-1 for Zeeb goes in the dirt. Not really sure what other pitchers Lane Tech has to throw in this game. Bozak pitched last night, so I'm assuming that's not the choice for them, as this one's fouled off, and we'll move to a 2-2 count, but we'll see who they throw after this one. A couple of players that Lane has that are able to pitch that have been playing in the field and vice versa, so we'll see if they go with any of those. Pitch goes straight through the legs of the catcher Jones and the umpire. We'll move to a full count on Zeeb to start off inning number 3 here. It'll be top the lineup after this. Tyler Trapp and Andrew Contreras. He moved from the DH spot to the center field spot last inning, while Andrew Contreras moved out of the outfield. And I guess he might be playing in the DH spot now, as this one misses inside. Apologies, we thought that was the full count, but instead it's going to, I believe, be a 3-2 now for the lefty. Yes, the umpire says 3-2. And now we'll see what they can deal. The 3-2. Chop down the third base line, and we'll keep it at a full count. One more conference game to go in the Jackie Robinson North tomorrow, as this one hit past the second baseman, Filosa, and safely into first will be Zeeb for his first score of the day. He's trying to become the last Lane Tech player in the lineup to score. 1 through 8 have all scored at least one here today, with 2 coming from Andrew Contreras for the 9 runs. And now Tyler Trapp, who doubled and came around to score his first time up, singled his second time up, singled his first time up. We'll chop this one off the middle, double play ball, and they get it in time. A 6, oh, that may have been unassisted. I don't think they flipped that, so that's going to be a 6-3 double play. And just like that, 2 away here quickly in the bottom of the third. And it'll be up to Andrew Contreras to try to keep this inning going. The lefty batter, you would have thought with Lane Tech having to top their lineup coming up, this might be one of their more lucrative innings scoring-wise. However, Champions at risk of not scoring for the first time here today in an inning, as this one misses inside to Contreras. We've seen the speed out of him today. He beat out a throw his last time up for what would have been out, and got the single instead, as he singled both of his first 2 times, as this one bounced towards first, staying fielded cleanly by Longren, and that will bring us to the end of inning number 3. Champions don't score. It's Lane Tech 9, York Dukes 1. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the 4th here at Kerry Wood Field. Lane Tech with a 9-1 lead over the York Dukes here, as Bennett Levinson, who we saw playing at third, is going to move over just a little bit to the pitcher's mound to start off this inning number 4. He's the 4th pitcher Lane Tech has used today, and he will face off against Paul Reedy to start off. First pitch goes high for a ball, and we'll move to a 1-0 count here in the top of the 4th. Reedy, his first time up, had a double, but got stranded there at second. This time another ball blasted to left field, but Berg will make the grab on the run for out number 1 of this inning. Nice movement there from Berg to get under that one, and is able to track down the fly. So 1 away here quickly in the top of the 4th. Levinson Listed as a right-handed pitcher and a third baseman, the sophomore has played in both of those positions. Zach Sharp took over his position at third as a big swing to miss on the first pitch to the designated hitter, Ryan Prochilo. Levinson in June had a fastball sitting in the 70s, high 70s, top of it 8 and 9, and then also has a curveball that kind of goes all over the zone. So it's what we're likely going to see here tonight out of Levinson, as trying to track a fastball to the outside part of the zone, but misses. So we'll move to a 2-1 count. Excuse me, I did not read all the way through my notes. He moved up his velocity a lot this offseason. He started in June at around 79. His fastball since then has topped out at about 86. In June, he was sitting more 82, 83, and also added more of a changeup. So my apologies, folks. I was looking at my June notes. By the end of the summer, Levinson added a lot of velocity this summer. And as just a sophomore, he's going to be someone to watch these next couple of years for the Champions as the 2-2. Beautiful curveball gets the bat, Prochilo swinging, and that will be out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down quickly for York here in the top of the 4th. And they will send the catcher, Noah Jones, to the plate. We saw the 1 run scored by York in that last half inning. But other than that, Lane's defense has been going strong here. I think they're going to call that a strike. Did not see what the umpire said there, but okay, no, they are going to call the ball. So 1-0 the count on the catcher, Jones. Must be hard for these doubleheader Game 2 catchers. We see Padilla doing it, and then Jones for York, because they have to catch 4 or 5 different pitchers in a couple different innings. As this one hit towards left field, Trap gets under it. He's been making good moves in around the field, and that will be out number 3. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Champions lead 9-1. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. To the bottom of the fourth we go, halfway through this one, though I could not tell what the umpire was saying, but he said this one's almost over, so I think they may call this one early. Lane Tech's close to possibly getting a run rule as well, so we'll see how long this one plays out. But for now, it'll be the third pitcher of the day for York as they send another JV player in, this time wearing number 2. It's not their usual number 2, Jack Rosmus, who's coming in to pitch. It's a different one. However, this guy was playing at first base, so they move from the bullpen, as this one fouled off to the right-hand side. They move from the bullpen, number 23, TJ Sakaitis. He's now going to be playing over there at first base. So a couple of defensive changes here for York as the 0-1 misses, and we'll even it out at a 1-1 count. At bat right now for the Champions going to be the 3-hitter Henry Murray, another lefty for the Dukes. Means that it is another righty at bat for Murray. He's stuck all season long to that philosophy. When he's facing a righty, he goes from the left side of the box. When he's facing a lefty, he goes from the right side of the box, and it's worked well for him. Probably not as high as numbers as he would have liked, but he's been good for when he's playing, usually a knock or two a game, and working his way back into the starting lineup. They've mainly been using him as a pinch hitter the last couple of weeks, but obviously a D1 commit as a sophomore, very talented, and this time he'll fly out to center field. The hat flies off there of the center fielder Marini, and that will be out number 1. So 6 straight guys retired here by York. And other than that, disastrous 7-run second inning for Lane Tech. The York defense has done a decent job controlling the Lane Tech offense. And all the other at-bats as they'll send Bennett Levinson up to the plate. First pitch misses for a strike. Actually, it looks like this is going to be trying to see Zach Sharp, who's coming in to hit. Just wanted to confirm with the number before saying that, but Sharp comes in to hit for Levinson, who went to the mound to pitch. This pitch way inside, and we'll move to a 2-1 count. Sharp, who plays a little bit of third base and travel, but is almost exclusively a pitcher, getting to play some third base here tonight for the Champions. A 2-1 on its way, swing and a miss, strike 2. Dugout gets loud after that one. Like the cut there from Sharp was just an inch or two away from getting the bat on that one, and we'll see what he can do on the 2-2. One away here in the bottom of the fourth, and this one misses away, so we'll move it to a 3-2. Waiting on deck is Carson Berg, and in the hole for the Champions will be Giannis Katsogradakis, who saw hammer a triple his last time up. As this one's going to go oppo field and drop for a single as Sharp hustles to first base, and the Lane Tech dugout having a lot of fun with that one. I think that might be the first varsity hit we've seen for Sharp, at least at Kerrywood Field. And Lane Tech has a runner on here in inning number 4. As Carson Berg comes to the plate, they look to extend this past the 8-run lead it's at right now. First pitch gets in there for a strike. See if the Champions decide to send Sharp to second or not. This one swung on and missed. And we'll move it to a 1-1. One away, runner on first for Lane Tech. Thanks for joining us. Alex Bursing on the call here from Kerrywood Field. Wind blowing in here on a gloomy Saturday in Chicago. Hopefully when, so that one was actually swing and miss, strike 3, my apologies. So that's going to be out number 2. Hopefully by the time we resume play here back in Chicago, the weather a little bit nicer, other than the rain. Yesterday was like a perfect day for baseball. 65 to 70 was the temperature at first pitch. Almost, you barely even needed to wear a coat for that one. Not as quite as nice of temperatures for this game. Still try to pick off Sharp there at first base. He gets back to the bag safely. 1-0 the count on Katsogradakis. 2 away now after the strikeout of Berg. And this one hit high towards left field, and getting under it is the shortstop Fleming, who brings it down for out number 3. We're through with 4 here at Kerrywood Field. It is the Champions 9, the York Dukes 1. I think that's going to be it, so they'll call it after this one. So they only go 4 innings in the doubleheader, and the Champions will take this one 9-1. So it's a doubleheader sweep for Lane Tech as they head to Florida after this one for their spring break trip. We'll be back on the air a week from Wednesday, I believe, when conference play resumes. But a good week for the Champions. They go 4-0, 3-0 in conference play and get a big win here tonight over York. Your final score from Game 2 of this doubleheader, it's the Lane Tech Champions 9, the York Dukes 1. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.